the explodey things on the floor. Don't touch those. They're bad for you. They actually slowed down the damage for that in the PS4 remake, thankfully, because that could kill you pretty quick. Let's just use the Gatling for a while, shall we? And yeah, we got little guys in powered armor at our feet too, so... Looks like they die when you run over them. Yep, squish. Never noticed that before, actually. Cute. But yeah, as you can see, this was heavily influenced by Gundam. I actually found an interview with the creators of Vulcan, basically the same staff, on great site if you've never visited. It's called shmuplations.com, and it's someone who is translating, in some cases in exchange for, you know, commissions on Patreon, translating interviews from old Japanese strategy guides and magazines. And there's some really interesting stuff on that site. You should check it out. It is great. And if you're, you know, interested in the people who made the games and the stories of how they were made, you'll find a lot of fascinating things to read on there. So it's just weird. I know Gundam, you know, intellectually I know Gundam's been around that long, but to listen to people in 1990 talk about being the generation that grew up watching Gundam, it's like, really? That far back? I only got to see that in 2001. It's weird. Ah, here's Rance's gun, Rance's fancy robot, which I have to hit in the cockpit. Yes, this is a Kron cyborg creation system. They're creating cyborg Krons in the background with all those Kronning vats. Yes, and 100 years ago they left Earth to find stuff. They didn't find stuff. They called for help. Nobody answered. And now they keep themselves alive through Kronning. And they're here to take revenge. But, you know, World War III, possibly 4, maybe 7. So, there was nobody around to answer the phone. It is regrettable, but we're going to blow each other up anyway. Okay, fine. I'm not asking you to reconcile with me. And basically, since I'm invincible, the best option is to fire slightly upwards whenever Rance knocks you into the air. Anything else? Yes. There we go. Yes, so Rance is a little bit bleeding out at the moment, and only the head of the robot survived, and Rance escaped in that. Where did they ever come up with that idea? We have control over the Kron area. Okay. And another laser I don't really need, but I did get a second 203mm bazooka, and that is useful. Yes, and this is stage 7 of 8. Pardon me. Yes, they are using a captured space colony, so we have to infiltrate it and destroy the enemy's weapons. I'm going to put the backpack at the back of the pack, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay, so we start out as another space stage in a minefield, so good time to have the shotgun out. As you can see, those do a lot of damage, so if you're not invincible, best not to hit them. But yeah, if you find a copy of this somewhere, or you go for Leynos on the PS4, it's worth checking out. It's, you know, it launched a whole series of side-scrolling Mecha Action games. It's a little clunky compared to those, but it's still pretty good and very interesting, so Again, if you're a fan of 80s mecha, you will get something out of it, I think. So, yeah, those are the things we're here to destroy. And as you can see, they have slightly upgraded robots now. Probably, let's call them Rickdoms, assuming what Rance was in was kind of Gelgoogy. So, got that. As you can see, it takes a lot of shotgun rounds to kill the Rickdoms. Got that. And that. Okay. And that. Kill more Rickdom things. Up to 10. I think the total is 19, which is a weird number, but it is the number I think I usually find, so... And it has pretty good music, too, for, you know, for its age. Depending on how you feel about, you know, this style of music. I think it's pretty good for a video game score, especially from 1990. And 18 and 19. Yep, that's it. 19. And there goes the door, and let me get my bazooka out, because we're about to be in space. And we're going to have to do a thing in space. There's an enemy warship. Do not let it get away. Attack. Obviously, do not run into the thrusters. That's bad for you. And then just float past it, try to stay away from the beam guns, and shoot it with bazooka until it explodes. And that is stage 7 of 8. Ah, good. I got the shield and the heavy Gatling gun. Those are generally the last two pieces of equipment to come in, and, you know, I'm going to take the shield basically for aesthetics, so... We're about to launch from our fancy battleship. We're now attacking the enemy fleet. Win this battle and the war will be over. Select your weapons now. Bazookas. No, wait. Shield, backpack, bazookas, and a shotgun. Yes, and his operator, Lena. Yes, he's fallen in love with his operator, which, if you've read the Gundam novel or seen Zeta Gundam, will not surprise you much, I'm sure. But yeah, the heavy Gatling fires a little slower, but does significantly more damage, and as you can see, we've worked our way up to the mass production version of the Gelgoog type that Rance Cullis was using. So, again, you know, all starts to look familiar, doesn't it? Most of the enemy fleet is using the equivalent of Rickdoms and Gelgoogs. So, off to blow up a Boa Coup. I've been rewatching the original Gundam lately for a project I've been working on. Just a little 4-panel webcomic thing using screen grabs. I call it Space Noids. And there's some strong language, I will warn you. I've kind of used, you know, Dragon Ball Z Abridged as kind of a model for what I wanted to do. I've had this idea for ages, and all respect to the people who do the Gundam Abridged series, but, you know, it's a little bit more random than I think would be ideal, personally. There's, you know, I've always liked Team 4 Star's approach because they combine humor with, you know, humor that works on all levels with things that require, or at least reward, let's say, a certain knowledge of the source material and the foibles of translating it and all those things. And that is an approach that could really take you far with Gundam. That's right, you can't actually blow those up. There's my Gatling. You can't actually blow those up. You can just disable the beam cannons. So, but yeah, so that's what I've been doing. it's out there. Spacenoidscomic.blogspot.com for what I've done so far. I'm up about, somewhere in the teens. I just finished Amuro Desserts. And yeah, that is the thing I've been doing. And yes, like I said, it uses a lot of strong language that I do not use on here very often, so be warned, ask your parents, whatever. If there are actually underage people who have any interest in a cartoon from 1979, you have my respect. Boy, there's a cloud of robots around me right now. I need to stop and kill some of those. Also, you know, continue damaging the enemy flagship. Well, actually, these aren't the flagship. These are just... Even this is just one of the smaller ships. Next up, we should see probably that big cruiser that we chased down a couple of stages ago. And soon will be the enemy flagship. You will know it when we see it. Yeah, this is not it. I don't think... Did we bypass the big ship and go straight to the flagship? I'm not sure. Well, if I see a hatch to enter in... Yeah, this is the flagship. And here's Rance again. Oh, hey, that's another white Leynos behind me. That's unusual. Yes, he's a Kron cyborg now. Okay, and he's dealing with mechanized agony. Dive into that opening. Yeah, that's right. The other white Leynos just opened the path for me by blasting a hole in the side of the ship, so... Rance, of course, has a new, even more advanced robot. So, where is that opening that I need to dive into? Is it this opening? This opening? I think I can't dive in until I've blown up Rance, so... Shotgun's already empty, so I'll just use the Gatling and save the bazooka for the last boss. Yep, Rance gets away again. Because that is how the Shar do. And yes, this is another base stage, but just to mix things up, this is a base stage in zero gravity, which means if you mind your position, those laser things aren't too much of an issue. The turrets are, though, and, you know, bullets everywhere. I'm not sure exactly how much damage your shield can soak up, but as you can see, those do seem to be damaging me. At a slower rate than they did without the shield, which is something, but... We'll just ignore them and go drifting through towards the boss. I'll blow up a couple of things on the way through. That's good. We'll know we're near the boss when we see a background made up entirely of these vertical pylons I keep passing, the gray things.